This sign is so cute. I am making a kit out of this to send out to you. So if you want one, I will put it in the link for my Shopify, or just reach out to me. And this is going to be the back. It's going to be a seasonal sign. So it's going to be a two-sided sign. So first thing I did was I painted the front with the white swan, and I let that dry. And then we are going to put this one-time use stencil, and you just stick it down on there, and you got to make sure around the words that it's all stuck down really good so it doesn't leak and get bad. See, you want to go to the right and not straight up, or you'll pull the parts off that you don't want. So you take your time on this, and you take the little safety pin I put in there, and you might have to, use that later. I use the backing of this one-time use stencil, and it's so good for a little paint palette. You will have enough paint to do this whole entire project, front and back, and it's a really fun project. You can order a couple and do one with a friend, a daughter, or give one for a gift. And then you just take the little sponge I give you, and you just sponge the coat on. Sometimes you can get away with one coat, especially with the dark colors. But since we're going over white, I did let that dry a little bit, and then I went back over it with the same sponge and paint. And if you use a dryer, make sure you don't melt the one-time use stencil. You can use a dryer, just be careful with it so you don't melt it. But it dries really fast with the one-step paint, or the DIY paint. I do have one-step paint, but I didn't send that you don't have to seal. And those are really good paints. And all the products I use will be in the description box. But if you do want to buy this kit, you can just order it with the link, and I will send it right out. They all might be slightly different, like shapes, but it's pretty much the same thing. The transfer might be a little different. The mold might be a little different, but it will be really similar to this. Right here, I'm picking out the insides of the one-time use stencil with the little pin that I send you. And this is our water-based top coat, which is Big Top. So after that black is dry, you want to carefully stencil over the black, because DIY paint is reactivated by water, and this is wet, and so it will smear onto your white. So carefully do that, and then dry that. And then we're going to put the top coat on the white. You'll see how I'm kind of putting it on the white after it's dry. If you would happen to mess up, you can just take a little artist brush and just touch it up with the paint where it is messed up. And this usually comes out really sharp and really clean if you have your stencil down really good. Now, it is all sealed. So now we can, and dried, make sure that's dry. Then you put the transfer, just kind of hold it over where you want. When you take the backing off, don't touch the image because your finger oils might make it not stick. I'm just kind of looking and seeing, how do I want this? I take my time to figure it out. You don't have to do it exactly like this video. Have fun. But I do like the transfers and the molds to kind of go over the word. I just think it looks super cute. So take time and figure out where you want your piece at. And this is called getting your composition ready. If you wanted to put the welcome way up top or way up bottom, you could do that. You don't have to do it just like this. So I'm taking the stick. I will send you a popsicle stick instead of the transfer sticks that would come with a full transfer if you order those. And you just scratch it on, and then you rub it down with your finger. And we do have to seal that. Here's a little butterfly. So you're either going to get a little butterfly, or you'll get some other kind of transfer to make this super cute. So just figure out where you want it. As I'm editing this, I would have made his little body show up instead of putting the dark body on the black letter, but that's okay. He's still cute. And this is something, once I get enough watch hours on YouTube, I will be able to have a membership group. And I want to have a membership group where I send you out a kit either once a month or once every other month. I haven't decided, and for a certain price point. And we will have a private video that you can watch anytime, and you can cancel anytime if you want in and out. But that's one of the prototypes that I kind of made for a thing to advertise. This is the kind of thing we'll do, and we can do it together, and we can have a private group, and it'll be super fun. Okay, you can take your mold, whatever I send you, and you can use some paint that I send you, and you will have enough to complete this project. I like to wet distress the paint back because this castings that is made out of resin is white, and so it looks really cute. That's how the pumpkin at the first kind of had all that dimension and color. And so now I am just using glue to stick it on, and I will send that to you as well. And I will send the string, and you can string it up. You can put your own kind of string in there if you want. If you had a ribbon or something, you might have to kind of cut the holes a little bigger with a drill if you have that. But this twine is good, so that's what I used. You'll see at the end how I styled it in a empty photo frame on a plant hook, or you can hang this on a wreath. You can hang it on a little hook on one of your shelves. You can do multiple things with this. Before I put the string on, I forgot we need to seal the transfer now. So you'll take some more of that big top, and these will be labeled and all the stuff, so don't worry about that. And go over that so it doesn't come off later. Okay, so this mold is still available, and I have another pumpkin mold, and it's so good. I use resin pour in it, but I love to use the air dried clay too. But the resin pour is more sturdy to send in the mail to you. And you just mix part A, part B, and you mix it really good. It has to be really even parts, and you pour it in here. You use a stick or something pointy and make sure it gets on all the details. Now, for this size of project I'm sending, that's the mold you're going to have. The bigger one I did at the first, I forgot that is not the one I used because it's too big, but I just went ahead and poured it, so I painted it up and showed you how cute these are. But I have these available still, and so I'll put the links in the description. You're going to want this one. It's good. Okay, so now the front is really good and dry, so I'm going to start on the back. So you might want to do this before you put your twine in. You might want to wait until the season is and then paint it. Right here, I used Prairie Gray. It is the most perfect neutral taupe tan. It's not really gray. It's not really cream or tan. So that's what I did, and you can just put it on there. Again, if you message me in time, I can send you a special color, but probably it's going to be kind of a neutral color. And I think I just got away with one coat. I will send you enough to do 2 coats in the thing. This paint goes forever, and you can always add a little bit of water and make it go even further. So remember that if you ever buy any paint from me, or if the kit you decide to, do it a little bit more. So right here I used fire starter, and then I used a little bit of chocolate kiss, I believe is what it is, and it's so good. And I'll send you some green too, for your pumpkin. So if you ever do get these and do the resin pour, it's fast cast. It dries in 10 minutes. The one that takes 24 hours is clear. Look at that, gorgeous. And it's so satisfying to set and paint. And you will get our little artist brush with it too, and you can just rinse it out and use it again. Okay, so Hello Pumpkin is what I chose to put on here. Yours may not be cut in 2 like that, but this was a little bit big for this that I had already had them cut. So yours will probably be 1 piece arched, but it's fine to cut it and put it in a different composition if you want. So here I am going to go ahead and seal the back with the water-based big top. A lot of times I like to put the stencil on before I seal it, because sometimes that big sticker of a stencil will pull off some of your sheen and look different. So I would suggest doing it before you seal your paint. I think I forgot on this one and did it different. So you're not going to mess anything up. The sheen kind of changes, but you're going to go back over it with the big top and put the sheen back on too. So to seal everything up. Here I did the little paint with the fire starter and then baby wiped it back. I don't think I put the glazing brown on it mixed with the water though. So you can do it either way, and you will have this color in your kit, because you can always mix it with the white and make it a little bit lighter pumpkin. I love the white pumpkins too. So do it either way, and I'm just painting that over, and you will need to let that dry and then seal it as well. And we just put it on with glue, so you'll have plenty of glue to glue the back on. You can use a hot glue gun if you want to use a hot glue gun instead of this. Just if you hang it outside, it's for sure gonna, in the Oklahoma weather, in the cold or hot, it sometimes makes it fall off. So I found our glue sticks pretty good. just a lot of really good greens. If you have some other kinds of craft paints at home, it mixes really well with our DIY paint. So don't be afraid to use some of those if you want to add something that I didn't send. So I am taking a toothpick and just kind of getting in there with some of my touch-up paint. I don't mind if it goes over, but some people just want super perfection. So you can take a smaller paintbrush, you can take a toothpick and just go over what you messed up. But if you're going to distress it with a wet baby wipe or a wet wash rag, a lot of that's going to be forgiving and it'll show more dimension. It almost looks like it's highlighted how artists do because of the white resin cast. So just don't be too perfectionist on this. Alright, I'm coming in with the big top again. So you will get one small artist brush and that size of brush that you're seeing me use right now, and definitely can be used again and again. You may have to rinse your brushes if you do both sides of the project at the same time. It is not a problem. And don't forget, you can mix colors and make a third color. So get crafty with that. Here I am pulling the little hello off. Again, I'll probably have yours all in one piece, but maybe not. So you could put the hello at the top and the pumpkin at the bottom, or you could try to put them all in a heart like I have them. You can do them however you want. And I did not glue the pumpkin down yet. I'm going to do my stenciling of the hello pumpkin first and then putting it on. But I did kind of have an idea where I was going to put it. So scope that out before you glue that on. I cut these one-use stencils out with the little Joy Cricut cutter. If you guys want a in-depth tutorial on how I do that, just put it in the comments because I think I need to make a video on that. I don't get really fancy with it because I like to use all my products, so I would just give you the basics. But it is the blue vinyl that is a one-step product to use for the stencils. The top that is kind of white there, that is called the transfer tape, and you take the back off the blue vinyl first and do your stencil, put it on as you've seen, rub it down really good, and then you pull off your transfer tape. So I'll have all these written instructions so that you don't, if you're confused while you're doing the video, you can just look at the written instructions too. I'm in the car while I'm editing this, so that's kind of the background noise. So here again, just like we did the first side, we took the back of the stencil and used it for a paint palette, and we're using the black velvet or little black dress. Don't know which one I'll send you, but they're really similar. And you just stencil it on there or stipple it on there, like a little stipple technique with that sponge. If you have a stencil brush, feel free to use that. That is totally fine. For your kits, I'm going to leave you a little bit more of the blue showing above the cutout letters, because if you're not real experienced, it's real hard to not get the paint on the part that's not supposed to have it. So I'm using that paint palette to kind of cover that up, or you can take some painter's tape, some copy paper, and just set it on top there so that you can stipple your paint and not get it where it's not supposed to be. That's what I'm doing right there. One other thing you have to decide is one side is one color, the back side's another color. So you got to decide those little bitty edges, what color do you want it? So just think about that when you're painting it. It's so thin, it doesn't really show up, but you do need to decide and be cautious about that so that you don't mix the two colors if you don't like that. All right, make sure you don't have paint on your fingers when you touch your base, and you will get that blue thing. You don't want it to touch your thing. If you drop it, sometimes it gets on there and you'll have to touch up paint. Right here, I'm taking a little safety pin and pulling the little insides of those letters out. It is so fun to do that. If something doesn't look right, you might have left one of the insides of the letters. So just kind of look it over really good and pull it off, and just don't get paint from your fingers onto your project. Okay, I'm keeping it real here. As you see, it looks kind of not sharp and crisp like the other side did. So what you can do is take your little artist brush and go around the edges and clean it up. Sometimes I have just lightly distressed the whole thing and just went with that look, and it totally blended it fine. If you don't like that, don't do that. Just touch it up. But what happened was I either didn't wait long enough. You want to do thin coats with your sponge. You don't want to push too hard and get too much paint up under the stencil, or you just let it dry really good. I may have not let it dry really good and I put too much paint on. So just be, take your time. I wasn't taking my time. I was hurrying up to film this for this video, but it touched up really good. It wasn't a big deal. And then we're going to seal the whole thing, because remember, you got to seal that black, and you want to have a really light hand. You don't want to go back and forth, because that big top will reactivate your black and smudge into your tan part. So just take your time, just go over it one time, let it dry, and then you can go over the whole entire surface again. So make sure you rub your letters, the blue vinyl, down really good, that it's adhered to the project so the paint won't go up under there. But I will tell you, if you're doing another project and you have a really textured surface, or you've built a lot of texture with your paint, a lot of times with even regular stencils that you buy, if you're not careful, that paint will go up under there too and do the same thing. So you kind of got to be aware of how much of a perfectionist you are. You probably don't want to stencil because you can't be perfect. Here I just hung it on the little plant hook that is in a video I will link in there that my husband made with a 2x4, and it was really cute. But you can hang it inside of a wreath, over a mirror. Just send me pictures of what you end up doing with this if you guys get one of these. So let me know if you want one and I will send it right out. Okay, for the grand finale, I want you to experience our colored waxes. We have several colors. This is the dark wax, and I love to shadow around the edges. As you see I'm doing, I'm kind of stippling, and then I take a wet rag or a dry rag, just depending and how much you want to show, and I'm just kind of blending that in. I would suggest when you use colored waxes to seal your paint first, like we did with the big top, and then it won't grab as much. So usually I use clear wax, and then I wipe that off a little bit and then put my colored waxes on it. You have a little bit more control. You have a little bit more ability to wipe some of it back if you get too much. So I'm going to put a little wax in there, and you're going to see how good our wax is. It doesn't stink. It's non-toxic. It is so fun to use. And look how much dimension that gave. And that first pumpkin I did at the very first shot, that's what I used. Here we go. Hope you have fun. New video out every week.